Okay, we're going to finalize this drawing today for the cantilever. And as you can see, we have all the pieces already on this. But we are missing the grips. Um, and the grips are these square pieces right here. And that's what we're going to work on today. So these are steps 26 through 33. And there, again, we're going to draw one side and then we're going to mirror it so that it becomes one whole piece, like this. Okay, as we've done with the pins and the handles. And once we're done, we're ready to move on to lesson 4. Okay, so we are on step 26. Now, step 26 says, let's extrude the grips using sufficient constraints and the design intent to create the new sketches, planes, arms. Okay, so we have to create them on a plane that's on the face of the arms, and this grip is on the face of the small arm, and this grip is on the face of the large arm. So the grip that's on the face of the large arm is your large grip, and the grip that's on the face of the small arm, small grip. Meaning, this is small, and this one over here is large. Same one. All right, and our dimensions are going to be, they're going to be 2 squares, so our dimensions are going to be 0.75 for both sides of the square, and there's going to be a circle of 0.313 diameter in the middle of it. All right, let's get to it. All right, so I have my the drawing of my cantilever here, and as you guys see, I've increased the size of my parts menu. Why? Because what I want to do is I want to make everything that I do not need invisible. So first of all, I'm going to change the opacity of my end hinge. How am I going to do that? I'm going to click on appearance. Again, the first meter here, alpha. If I make it go all the way to the left, it makes it completely transparent. If I go all the way to the right, it makes it solid. That's what I want. Okay, so now I'm just going to cancel everything out on my arms. So click on all the eyes. Boom, I'm done. All right, cool. So now the question is are my arms facing this way or are they facing this way? Am I seeing the front side or the back side? Well, that's easy. We can check. We're facing the back side of the arms. If you see over here, the clamp is opening to your right. So that's what we want. So I'm going to click on back. I'm going to lock the screen, and now I'm going to draw my square. So I'm going to click on sketch. It's asking me to select the sketch plane, so I'm going to click the face of the small arm first, and I'm going to click align. Now this is on the plane of the front of the face that's facing you, of the back face of the small arm, which is facing you right now. That's a dark gray on your screen. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a square on it, and it could be any dimension. It doesn't matter, because what's going to happen is you're going to set the constraints for it later. Okay, and as a matter of fact, you can draw this on the side over here. Boom, I'm done. And how do you know it's closed? Because the shading of it is black inside. The shading of the inside of it is black. Okay, and finally, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of them. I'm going to set them to construction lines. I'm going to make another line diagonally across. And I'm done. Now I'm going to set my constraints. I want these to be perpendicular to each other. So I highlighted them, then I'm going to click perpendicular. Boom. And again, I'm going to say this and this are going to be perpendicular to each other. Actually, yeah. Boom. And I'm gonna set 2 more. Once I set these 2 perpendicular to each other, that's all I need. Boom. Okay, now I'm done. You have them all perpendicular to each other. Now all that I would need is to set my sizes, right? And for my sizes, I know that this is going to be 0.75. So I'm going to go into my dimensions, click on dimensions, here we go, click the side, and set that to 0.75. Done. Okay, now for the rest of them, easy. Oh no, I forgot to unclick. You're supposed to unclick the dimension settings. So I'm gonna click that one and this one. The one on the right, the vertical line, is because that's the one that's set to 0.75. I'm gonna click on my menu. I'm gonna click equal. Boom, they're both set to equal. Now, because these 2 lines that I'm highlighting right now are also perpendicular to those 2, and they're perpendicular to each other, I would not have to. I don't need to set their length as equal to the other 2, because by definition they will be equal to 0.75 because they're perpendicular to each other and they're both perpendicular to 2 lines that are that size, that length. So that would just be over constraining them. I don't want to do that. I don't need to do that. I can do it if I want to. It's not going to affect my drawing unless I ask my drawing to do something that it can't do, that it's acting against something that I have asked it to do. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to draw my circle. Okay, center point circle. Now I'm going to click anywhere near the center, and it should click to at the center of the circle. Okay, now I don't think that's a construction line. It's not. Actually, the outside lines of the square are not construction lines, only the center line. So I'm going to change all those lines again. Okay, so I'm going to click that, unclick the circle, and click construction lines. So I'm going to click on the circle and all the lines that I want to change back to regular lines. Again, boom. And there we go. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to set the size of my circle, right? So I'm going to click dimensions, I'm going to click that, and that is going to be 0.313, boom. I'm set. Now what I want to do is, because the circle is constrained to the center of that diagonal line, if I move that circle, the whole box is going to move. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to click this circle and I'm going to click this circle right here. Then I'm going to open my sketch menu and I'm going to set concentric, and boom, immediately everything moves to that spot. Again, I'm going to do the same exact thing for my other line. Okay, I'm done with that sketch. Boom, done. So now I'm going to go over here and click on the sketch menu again, and now this time I'm going to click on the face of the large arm, which is that light gray or blue, green, gray that I have there. All right, that's my sketch. I want to lock my screen so that you don't shift it, and I'm going to click line. Again, I'm going to draw a square. Boom, square done. All right, now I'm going to set my my lines perpendicular. Oh, and I want to draw a diagonal line here. Boom. Okay, now I'm done. All right, now I want to set these 2 perpendicular to each other. I'm going to click here, perpendicular, and okay, that's weird. Let's see what went wrong. Oh yeah, those lines are not together. I'm going to do that line again. Click here, click here. Okay, now they're joined. Good. All right, so now I'm going to make my diagonal line. Okay, now we're going to set my lines perpendicular to each other. Highlight that line, highlight that line. Sketch menu, perpendicular, boom. Okay, now I'm going to set this line and this line perpendicular to each other. Perpendicular, boom. And now I'm going to set this line and this line. Now, I don't have to set this line and this line perpendicular to each other because they're going to be perpendicular to each other just because that's the way that quadrilaterals work. If you've taken geometry, you should be aware of why that works. And now, if they're all perpendicular to each other, I have a quadrilateral. What I have to make sure is that, again, they're of the right dimension. So I'm going to set, actually, I don't have to set dimensions. I can just set them equal to the square that we already have there. So I'm going to highlight this line and this line, and I'm going to click equal. Boom. So now I'm going to set this one and this one equal to each other. Boom. And now we have a square. I don't have to do anything for this one and this line because we've already set them perpendicular to those two other lines, which means that they have to be dimensions to that will be a square. Okay, so now I'm going to draw a circle. Again, all I have to do is click somewhere near the middle of the circle, of the square, of that line. The midpoint of that line is going to be right at the center of the square. So I unclick circle and click dimension. I can click dimension, or even better yet, more easier, click the circle, click that circle, and set them equal to each other. Boom. Done. Okay, now I want to make sure both circles, this new drawing is inside of the other one. Now there's something weird about this. It's not shaded gray. So I need to make sure that it is shaded gray. Let's see. I'm going to set this line. What's happening here? Oh, I see what's happening. It's just, I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to edit my sketch. Okay, now it's gray. That's why I wasn't. Sometimes things like that happen. Just OK the sketch and then reopen it, re-edit it, and you'll see that things should be the way that you want them to be, especially in a simple exercise like this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my circle, the outside of the circle and the outside of the circle here. And I'm going to open my menu, and I'm going to click concentric, and now we have two circles right on top of each other, and the block is exactly where I want it to be. And you notice that all my lines turn black because they're perfectly constrained. Okay, let's move on. Let's see where we go next. So all of this is set. Okay. Now we're going to have to extrude the grips. We're going to have two grips. We're going to extrude them up to the midplane. And we have to change their names from large grip to small grip. Okay. So let's do that. That should be fairly easy too. Wait, let's see something. It says, create. Yeah, create two new sketches. Okay. So I'm going to click my object menu over here, which is my sphere on my iPad. Extrude. And I'm going to make sure that this one says new. I'm not adding it. First option solid. I'm going to click there, and I'm going to click there. And at the moment, they're going the wrong direction. They're going in the wrong direction. So I'm going to click opposite direction. And I have to make sure that I've clicked on the right options, right? Because as you can see, that's not what I want to extrude. I want to extrude the whole block. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click that. And let me see something. Yep. Actually, what I can do is I can open my pins. That's not my pin, that's my pin. Let's see. Okay, I see exactly what I have to extrude. Boom, sharpen. Perfect. Okay, so now we're good. Now we have the blocks going in like this, which is what I want. Okay, I'm gonna lock my screen. And alright, so now what I have to do is I have to click here N-type up to face. And what I'm going to click on is here on the top left menu, as you see me scrolling down, I'm going to look for midplane. I'm going to highlight that. Boom. Right? So now you see both of my squares are done. And what I'm going to do to have them show up a little better is I'm going to change their colors and their names. Now, as you see, this one over here, that's my short grip, my small grip, right? Small grip, small grip. So I'm going to change the name. Small grip. And this one over here is going to be my large grip. Large grip, yes. Large grip. Okay, so I'm going to change the color of my small grip. Let's do appearance, and I want to make it sort of like what they have on the instructions here. Yeah, that's the color I want. I want something greenish, yellow. That's it. Boom. And for that one, oh, they have a weird color, but we'll do something else. For this one, for the large grip, we'll do, I don't know, orange red. There we go. Boom. Okay, so I'm done with those. All right. I've named my grips and I've changed their colors. Now what it says, we're going to create a new plane to sketch on. Create a plane using plane point method. Okay, so I'm going to click on the object menu, and I'm going to click on my plane function, and then the option is going to be plane point, and it says create a point through a selected point in parallel. We did this way in the beginning, if you don't remember. And what we want to do is you need to select the center of the lower grip sketch and the right side face of the upper grip sketch. So basically, the first square that we drew, we're gonna, if you guys see that in the center of that circle, we're gonna click that as my point, and then we're gonna click this face as the other option. Okay. So again, this would be the point that we're picking, and this is the face that we're picking. Let's do it. Alright, so I'm going to go and click on, I'm going to hide my arms and sketch 2. Oh, I want to show my last sketches. Wait, what are my last sketches? Oh, I see, I think I know what Okay, that's my sketch. These are my 2 sketches that I drew. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to hide my first sketches. Sketch 1, boom. My arms are gone, which is fine because I just want the sketches for my squares. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click the object menu and I'm gonna click on plane. You see that one right there? Boom, click on that. All right, so now plane type, which is below the highlighted option. I'm gonna click plane point. Okay, which if you remember, this is what they're asking us, plane point. Okay, all right, plane point. Now, plane point, and we have to click on our entities. I'm going to click first on the center of the circle. Boom. And next, I'm going to click on the face of this. Done. All right. So we did it, and we are set. Okay. And you see, we got a plane right through the center of that. Okay, and that plane goes through the center of the other one too because they're lined up. Alrighty, let's keep going. Okay, now on this new plane, create the following sketch using proper constraints and design intent. All the parts except for the grips have been hidden from class. So I like same thing I did. I hid all my other parts. Now you can only see those 2. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a line through the center of these 2, a construction line. And I'm going to set this dimension to make sure that my line is set at the right point. And then I'm going to offset that line by this distance. And I'm going to have another line here. Same thing I'm going to do over here. And then from there, what I will do is I'm going to draw a vertical line here so that these 2 lines are perpendicular to each other. This line over here and this line are perpendicular to each other. And after I do that, I will draw another line, and this line is going to go from here to any point. It doesn't matter. What I will do after I draw that line is I'm going to set the angle to be 15 degrees. And one of the things that you have to be aware of is that when you draw that little triangle, you're going to first have these 2 lines sitting perpendicular to each other. Once you draw that other line over here, this whole thing needs to turn gray. That you need to do for sure. Then we're going to set our angles. If you don't set the first 2 lines to be perpendicular to each other, then what's going to happen is when you make this angle 15 degrees, what can happen is you'll have your line like that, and then this line over here that you had vertical is going to move, and this is going to be 15 degrees, but your line won't be the line that you wanted, which was supposed to be a straight line. Okay, so you have to be careful with that. Let's do it. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my left view. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to click on Sketch, and I'm going to click on that plane that I created. Actually, did it ask me to name it? This new plane, no, it does not tell me to name it anything, so I'm just going to leave it as plane 1. Okay. All right, so plane 1. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to draw those lines. I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to, what I like to do is I'm just going to draw a line, and I'm going to attach it to where I want to attach it. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm going to connect this to this line over here, and I'm going to click midpoint. I'm going to find midpoint over here, and that's it over here. Boom, done. Then I'm going to click this line over here. I'm going to click this line over here, and again, I'm going to click midpoint. Boom. Now we're done. And if I click dimensions, I can click here, and I can click here, and that should be 0.375. Very good. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset this line. I'm going to click here, I'm going to click offset, and you are going to see, oh wait, I'm going to click my line to offset. I need to click that first. And I'm going to make sure that my offset is going to be, I'm clicking on the number, but nothing's happening. Okay, here we go. The offset has to be 0.75. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on 0.75. 0.75. Boom. Line's offset. Good. So I'm going to leave that here. Okay. And we are set. Boom. Now, what I want to do is I want to make this line into a solid line. Okay, solid line. Boom, done. Uh-oh. 1, 2. Okay. Wait, what happened? Oh, I see. I didn't shift it. I just moved the drawing. Okay. So now, again, I'm going to click my line. I'm going to click, okay. So now my line won't move. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line from here. Whoa. From this corner right here, which is obviously not clicking. From here to here. Boom. Oh, I forgot to unclick line. All right. So you notice there's a gap there, right? So I'm going to click on that point over there, and I'm going to click on this point over here, and I'm going to say coincident. Boom. Now the line is joined. The line turns black. Okay. Now I'm going to click on this line and this line, and I'm going to say perpendicular. Boom. So now we have a perpendicular constraint to those two lines. All right. This one and this one. Again, if you do it again, it doesn't matter. It's just going to stay what it needs to stay. Again, now I'm going to draw a line from that point, and the problem is that whenever you move the screen and you make it big or small, it does things like that. I'm going to lock the screen again. All right, again, line. Click on that point and just click any point on that line. I would suggest not to click on the midpoint because it just makes things very difficult. Okay? Again, I forgot to click line, so that's why I drew another line. But you notice the inside of my triangle is gray, which is what I want. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on dimensions, and I'm going to click both of those lines, and you're going to see 29 degrees. I don't want 29, I want 15. Now, because I made this line and this line perpendicular to each other, the line that's going to move is the angled line as opposed to the line that's vertical. Otherwise, you'll have a problem, trust me. Okay. We want to remove this excess piece of line right here, so I'm just going to click on trim, which is somewhere over here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Trim. Trim. Scissors. There we go. Boom. And I'm done. And I'm going to repeat the same process for this over here. And they're done on the same plane, so it shouldn't be a problem. And the next video, I'll tell you what to do once you're done with those drawings.